Hi, my name is Vince, and welcome to Strategic Reserves. So, today, we are talking about the Adeptus Custodes, the Custodian God, the 10,000! More specifically, though, 5 allies that I think are a good idea to bring along next time you're heading out on the tabletop. Now, caveat with this list, of course, it's opinions, it's my opinion. I have play tested these things. I've played a lot of games. The people I play with play at a very high level, in my opinion, of course. But these are things that I generally think have either one, something that they bring that we drastically need, or two, they fill a niche and are kind of fun. That's how I kind of made this list here. I'll explain my thought process as we go along. The idea of these videos is simply to help jog the mind, get the memory going, get the muscles going. So when it comes time to list build, you can come up with something fun and creative, and you won't be sitting around going, "Oh, I don't know what to do." You might have these things in the back of your mind and be like, "Ooh, I think I want to try that combo or something like that." That's what we're here for. And so please add your comments, what you think, if you agree, if you disagree. I would love to hear below, as well as if you have other ideas, if you have other options. If you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you Vince missed this ally," I want to hear about it. You got to tell me. So put it in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. And let's get into this list without any more ado. All right. So number 5 on this list, boom, the Knight Castellan. I love the Knight Castellan. First of all, it's a big hulking knight. What's there not to love about a big hulking knight? It is gigantic. It's got that huge volcano lance. The plasma is good. The shield breaker missiles are good. The siege breaker cannon, the siege, whatever the cannon's called, is good. I mean, the thing is awesome. It's got a lot to love about it. It's got one little caveat. Let's call it. It's 525 points, straight up. That's the caveat. It's a big caveat. Is it good? No. I mean, is it competitive? No. Is it good? Probably not. Is it fun? Wow. At toughness 13, it stayed around a lot longer than I expected it to. It did a lot more work than I expected it to. The problem is, did it get me my 525 points of value? Sad face. No. Not even close. So it's like it killed things, but even if it killed, a couple hundred points worth of stuff, it wasn't probably going to kill 600 points worth of stuff. And even if it did, is that what I really needed it to do to be in my army? Well, maybe. I mean, if it's killing, anti-tank or big tanks and stuff like that, then that would be great. But in my experience, that's not what happened. It was able to take down one rhino, and then it killed some elites, and that's pretty much what it did, and then it died. The truth and the simple fact is, any skilled opponent, anybody who's been playing this game long enough, who can recognize it as an immediate threat and a weak, easy to kill threat, it seems like a no-brainer. If your opponent is playing with anti-tank, as if you're playing in any sort of competitive meta, you have some anti-tank in your list, you probably won't have any trouble taking down one large vehicle. And so, ultimately, the Castellan has to take its humble place here at 5th at the end of the list. That's what we're doing. Moving on to my favorite character model in the entire game, Canis Rex. Now, I see people all the time on Reddit and on blog posts asking about, is Canis Rex good? Is this something I should be playing? No. I mean, honestly, probably not. Is it fun? Yeah. It's number 4 on the list. It's very fun. He absolutely slaps in melee. He gets the reroll built in, which is cool. He gets out, and I actually did deny an assassination, which was pretty cool. The problem is that, again, without that invuln in melee, it's just too squishy. Canis Rex is 435 points, and his gun isn't as big as like a volcano lance, so there's no way you're reaching across the battlefield picking up tanks in a single round of shooting. I mean, you can, but the odds of you getting Canis Rex's gun to kill a vehicle, I mean, I've been playing with him for years. And in 10th edition is the closest you could get, and even still, that's not happening. Not normally. So with all that in mind, Canis Rex suffers from the exact same issues that the Castellan suffers for. Ultimately, that is not tough enough in melee, and while it does a ton of work once it arrives at its destination, getting it there is just, in my opinion, too hard to do against a skilled opponent. And so I would really highly recommend you look at spending those points elsewhere. Now, I never want to get you in the mindset where you shouldn't try it, because everybody pilots their army differently. But I will say, for me, it wasn't quite there. It was very fun, and that's how I got his number 4 spot. He did slap Angron to death, but unfortunately then Angron slapped him to death on the fight on death with total carnage, and that felt bad, like really bad. So take that for what you will. But it does have that long range anti-tank shooting, just like the Castellan, something that we do. Okay, moving on to my favorite of the knights, which is, as a knight player, the Warglaive. The Warglaive slaps. If you didn't know about the Warglaive, surprise, now you know about the Warglaive. The Warglaive slaps. It's really good. It's cheap. It's 150 points for the model. It does really well. It moves fast. That's the niche it specifically fills that I liked it for our Custodians army, is that it allowed me to guarantee I could move up and stand on primary objectives turn 1. And as most of you know, that is not a guarantee in a Custodians army. If you're not running some sort of tank or some sort of transport, there is no guarantee you're going to be able to start scoring primaries on turn 2. Your advance rolls can be all bad, and then you're standing somewhere like a fool. And so, with that in mind, I do think that the Warglaive fills a really specific niche. And it's cheaper than a lot of our units. So, I think that's a really interesting way to use it, kind of like a fast attack, where it moves quick. You can advance onto an objective if you need to, score some points. It's not simple to remove, and anything your opponent uses to remove it is almost certainly going to be something that's perfect at removing guard as well. So, you're going to be tanking a little bit of that. Now, you're only going to get the 5 up. You can't rotate your ion shields, just like we talked about with the other knights. That sucks, but it's a small price to pay because you're able to disperse those points across multiple models, and functionally, they actually are able to do some good work. You can action with them for 150 points. It's going to be cheaper than a lot of the other their units you have on the table. And I actually found that to be kind of beneficial and kind of interesting. They have the good anti-tank shots. So if I actually had no real big tanks to shoot at, then that's even better. Then it's like, cool, I don't mind wasting the shots. I can, put them into a couple of elites if they're nearby. But other than that, I don't mind actioning with these things because they're simply cheaper than a lot of our units. So the Armiger Warglaive at number 3, and moving on. Number 2, the Canis Assassin. Should it be anything else? No, and honestly, the Canis Assassin is awesome. And the Canis Assassin would be number 1, but number 1 is just such an incredible pick. It's just like you have no choice. It's got to be number 1. So, the Canis Assassin. You know what? We are 8 minutes into this video, and I'm going to save you all some time right now. The Canis Assassin does one thing really well. It doesn't cost a lot of points. Oh, I guess 2 things. And it has Deep Strike. So there you go. That's what it does well. I want it to come down. I want it to score some points, and I hope it doesn't die immediately. But if it does, who cares? That's how I feel. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if you're running a Custodians list and you're looking at building it for some sort of competitive situation, I think the Canis Assassin is an absolute, must consider. Not saying it's an auto-include, and I understand why you would argue it's an auto-include, depending on your list and the points. It's not, but it's certainly an auto-consider. The only reason I wouldn't have it in my list is if I simply just had 30 extra points, so I might as well run some Aloris Custodians in that spot. They can still go back up. They can still deep strike. So he can't come down or the Canis Assassin, she can't come down turn 1 anymore. So there's no loss. So other than that one situation, I think it's an obvious unit to add to a list for scoring. I've used them a couple of times, and while they absolutely did nothing fancy or fun, scoring points is fun. So maybe they did that. That was fun. But yeah, honestly, it was okay. But it scored a lot of points, and it's hard not to love that. I win. So moving on to number 1. Number 1 is an auto include. If you're running a Custodians army, and you are not including Lord Inquisitor Kyria Draxus in your army, you are handicapping yourself. Could not convince me otherwise. It's insane. Functionally, if you didn't know about this, the model is 85 points to add to your list. She has a shooting attack that's okay. Hits on 3s, no AP, 2 damage. However, it's 10 shots. And if you do it twice, you now are getting 20 shots. And I mean, that's just insane. I mean, 20 shots because you're, if you attach her to a guard unit who can shoot twice in a game, you're not putting out 20 shots. I mean, 20 shots is just so good from one model, especially when they're good shots. In the double shooting turn, you're going to have 4 doubled to 8 of those shots be anti-infantry 4-up dead wounds. Awesome. 12 of them will be indirect. Awesome. The range a little short, but honestly, it's good. And if you can move that guard unit into cover towards the center of the battlefield, you're going to be able to step out and shoot something and charge something and change the state of the board in the middle of the battlefield. It's really good. It kills elites. It kills marine equivalents. It decimates. It's just, I'm going to stop there. If you haven't tried it, try it. Seriously. That's the end of the list. Thank you so much for watching this far. I really appreciate you watching the channel. Please like and subscribe for future content. We're going to be covering Warhammer-related things, but more specifically tactics. We're trying to get everybody to be a little bit better, to build a community, to build a better place for all of us to exist. Be kind to each other. Have a good time. Have a great game on the tabletop. Have a good day.